What's happening, guys? Mark Jones, BlackStang Carpentry. I'm going to make a bunch of sets of coasters. Here's my classic chunky coasters that I'm going to make a set of. I got a bunch of different sets. I'm going to end up using some Instant Black Rubio Monaco and finishing it with some super white, cotton white Rubio Monaco to get the look that I want. I have other coasters that I'm going to finish with Odie's Oil, classic Odie's Oil. It's one of the best, easiest, quick finishes. Here's some white oak that I have. I resawed it off screen, and I filled a groove there they have with epoxy. I had a couple bubbles. We worked through it. So I ended up resawing all of this, and I can get 4 coasters per scrap of wood that I have. A bunch are resawed at 3/8, but this bigger board is resawed at 5/8. These chunky coasters, I believe they're 3/4 thick, and I have a walnut book matched set that actually is going to look really cool, but I'm going to have to saw this to get my 4-inch ideal diameter. Also, as I was resawing this, it kind of snagged a small point here, so I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I hide that or leave that piece cut off. It's a difference in a 1/16. Otherwise, I'd just sand the cut out of it, but it's going to be too drastic of a change. And once again, these chunky coasters are about 3/4. I had another set of chunky coasters that were 7/8, and they were beautiful. So here I am trying to keep the book match in the center so that it's an even coaster. So I end up finding the center of the board, and I end up taking off, I believe it was 3/8 on one side, and then because the width of the blade, 1/4 on another. So it ended up turning out perfectly. Here's me finding it. See, I'm getting my measurement to the center, and then I end up finding my measurement, transferring that line to get a cut line. Transferring my mark to the other side, and then coming back and tracing a real good line so that I can see it, and then double check my measurements. Once I get my final measurements, gotta transfer those marks to the saw so that I can run the saw the correct distance for my 4-inch finish, and it's particular for the 4 inches that the center book match is in the center of the 4 inches. Otherwise, it's just gonna look funky. Yep, all of them at the same 4-inch thickness, making me very happy because I did cut them at different times. Next step is to rough sand anything that needed to be sanded. I have overflow on the epoxy for sure, and I know that this 5/8 thick was rough sawn on one side, so I think I started with 60 grit sandpaper to make sure that it went quick, moved to 80 for a little while, and then kind of busted through real quick the other grits all the way up to, I think I only did 180 on all of these, and that was fine. As you can see there, I had a couple bubbles that I ended up later filling with CA glue and then sanding some more. And little tip, if you use the vacuum, it clears out the holes so that you could fill the glue real easy. Here's me doing the glue. I had thin CA glue, but I ended up wanting to use this medium thick because it is easier to control. Used a little bit of both, and the CA glue is pretty amazing. You throw it down there, hit it with a spray, and it's instantly dried, as you can see from the bubbles appearing there. Now, we're at the 4-minute mark, and I can't believe anybody is still watching, but if you are, thank you. Please leave a comment that you made it this far. You do not have to like this, but if you want to subscribe, because I release videos fairly frequently on little projects that I do, and it's only going to get more and more frequent as the summer goes by. So, especially if you're not related to me, because the only people I could see watching this are people related to me. So here I am getting my 4-inch cut, and there's all of my coasters. I end up rounding over all of the coasters and doing a final sand here. I think I got 6 sets of coasters. I'm inside the shop now for the finishing process, and I end up using this Howard's Restore finish. I wanted the pigments to kind of darken up the grain, and I don't think there's a difference. You can see later. Tell me what you think in the comments. I don't think it really did anything. This is not a finish per se. This is supposed to take the aspects of a finish that has been weathered over time and kind of put a fresher look on it. I don't think it really made a difference in this application. What I should have done was used an actual stain or something, but I thought this was Danish oil when I grabbed it, and then when I was here I was like, oh, I guess it's not, but it's fine, I'll use it anyways. So I just want to cover the entire surface. I'm using a blue shop towel as an applicator, and I only use this finish on this singular set of coasters. As I leave those to dry for a second, I'm going to use some of this Odie's oil on these sets. Got to mix it up real good, because if it sits on the shelf, it kind of hardens up. If you mix it, it ends up coming real fluid. Odie's oil is a hard wax finish, so what does that do? It takes a liquid, hardens like a wax, and it fills all the grains, especially when you're working with oak, which this is. It's wonderful. So I end up you only need a little goes a far way. I'm using this white Scotch-Brite pad, which is wonderful because it's entirely cheap. This, I think, when it comes down to it, this is like less than 50 cents for this little scrap that I end up using for every single one of these coasters, and I have 6 sets, so that's quite a bit. Now, you got to be pretty thorough, cover all the areas. I think I only did 1 coat. It wasn't really important to do a second coat. I ended up letting them dry overnight, and they ended up looking good. I didn't think they needed another coat. So here I filled the epoxy with these, and I tried making it as transparent as possible. It's pretty good. So anyways, here I am just finishing these couple. I got the book matched walnut coming up next. Going over the exact same process with these. Little scrap of Scotch-Brite and just a little elbow grease. Now, after I saturated all the pores with oil, I ended up buffing them with just a blue shop towel. I had it right next to me, and I was like, rather than going and buy a rag that I'm going to throw away, I'm going to just use these cheap shop towels. Ended up buffing all of them. I think I ended up using 2 shop towels for all of them. Worked out pretty good. All right, here you go. You tell me. This one has the Howard's dark oak. This one has just the Odie's oil. They both have Odie's oil. You see a difference? I do not. So here I am going for the chunky coasters. Here's the instant black that I have. I end up using one of these plungers in order to take it out of the container it's in. I found that easiest. Throw a little squeeze on that. I'll put a link in the description below for the plungers and anything else that's a hard find. I used the white Scotch-Brite pad to spread this black pigment, and it really wasn't working. I ended up just going with the finger. That's what I've always done in the past, and it works out wonderfully. So, a little messy, but I didn't have any spots on the shirt, and that's all that really matters. I had a chunky 3/4 set and a thicker 5/16 set. Nope, 5/8 set. And after I let that dry for a little bit, I think I left it overnight. I didn't need to. It dries pretty quick, maybe in about 10 minutes, but I think I ended up becoming busy, so I ended up doing this the next day is why I changed. So I end up squeezing 6 plungers full of the white cotton white color, and it's a 3-to-1 ratio, so 6 and 2 of the hardener, which is coming up next. I used the plunger once again to do this because it's so easy every time. It's the same measurement. You don't have to use a scale, you don't have to use a measuring cup. It's just so easy. It's fill it up, squeeze it out. So 6 of those, and then 2 of the activator. Stir that up, and then you can get to applicating. Once again, Rubio Monaco, it's kind of expensive. It's a hard wax finish. A little goes a long way, and I've had this container of Rubio Monaco White that I've used fairly frequently. It's lasted me almost 2 years. I'm coming up on the 2-year anniversary of having it. I think it was $60 for the container, but I mean, I've done countless projects with it now. Actually, I mixed up a little bit too much of this today, which was kind of unfortunate, but it ended up working out because you only need a very little amount, but you want to make sure you cover all surface area of your coaster, because any spots that are unprotected, it's a coaster, so if the water seeps in there, you could end up having a big problem with the moisture seeping into the pores of the wood. Continuing with this process on with the remaining coasters, I have a set of these chunky coasters, I have the regular thin coasters, and I have a just natural wood white oak set that I also am planning on using this cotton white Rubio Monaco to finish, making the total 3 sets of Rubio Monaco finish with 3 sets of the Odie's oil finish. Now, I know that I like personally the black and cotton white Rubio Monaco. It looks super white right now, but I end up coming back just like the Odie's oil and buffing off most of this finish so that only the pores catch the Rubio Monaco. And it ends up looking, in my opinion, stunning. Let me know in the comments below which one you like best, what you would prefer. Here's just the natural white oak. I also think this is a good finish for any project you use just white oak for. Doesn't get much easier. Buff on, buff off, make sure you cover all areas. I mean, it's pretty simple and literally takes a day. Now, I wouldn't use these coasters before 24 hours, but after 24 hours, they're good to go. As you can see, the color really darkens once you start buffing it off, and it gets to that desired look that I like. Black matches any home decor, and it has a little accent of white. I think it's phenomenal. Well, that's pretty much it. There's the coaster. Wonderful. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, especially if you don't know me. I can't believe you made it this far in the video. Thank you.